The Mavericks are looking to defeat their Western Conference rival going into this game. This is 2K Sports bringing you the NBA. I'm Kevin Harlan, calling the action with my broadcast partners Steve Kerr and Clark Kellogg. Now a chance to check out our State Farm starting lineups. And guys, what are we going to be looking for in this one from Dirk Nowitzki?
You know, he's not really known for his ability to bang down low on the block, Kevin, but Dirk Nowitzki is, I think, underrated when it comes to his footwork on the post. He gets deep position down there. He knows exactly how to get his shot off against virtually any type of defender.
Yeah, and he doesn't need a perfect look to score. I mean, he can do it over tough defense. His size gives him an advantage, and he's got such an unorthodox array of shots and ways to score over defenders that guys challenging him with their hands in his face usually don't bother him at all.
They'll play this one here in Phoenix before the Suns head back out on the road. It's been a very challenging start to the season for these guys, losing all but one of their first 8 games.
Well, these two teams know each other so well, Kevin. And you know the old expression, familiarity breeds contempt. I think that's the case. Usually these games between these two clubs get a little testy.
Yeah, there's always a little something extra at stake, Steve, when it's a game between these two squads. It should be really a lot of fun.
And yes, sir, that one drops. Dudley's got the game going here with the first basket for the Suns.
I tell you, last year was an interesting season for the Dallas Mavericks. I thought Rick Carlisle did his best to parse out minutes and try to get guys rest. He did have an older roster, particularly with guys like Dirk Nowitzki, Jason Kidd, Vince Carter. But it was a tough thing to overcome. They never really could build the momentum that they had found in years prior.
But back to the Mavs a second. You know, when you have a team like that is aging, you know, you put them in a compacted season, a lot of games in a very short window, that normally would not bode well for them.
No, it wouldn't. And they'll play more games this year, but overall I think they'll be better off with more days to rest in between. As a matter of fact, I would love to see the length of the season go back to normal, but the games stay at 66-7.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be awesome.
You'd have great practices, better coaching, fresher athletes. I mean, even the commissioner agreed with you on that.
I think that would be awesome if somehow you could make that happen.
Tries from 10, and it's Phoenix scoring again. On defense, the Suns. It's a 5-point game, and this is the first time they've matched up with the Mavericks this year.
Well, last year's season series between them was a battle of two of the NBA's mid-level teams, and they didn't get the better of it.
The Suns have gone 3 of 4 from the field to start out the game.
Yeah, their offense struggled for almost that entire game. You know, whenever they did start to put together something during a decent stretch, it just seemed to end just as quickly as it began.
Yeah, but even so, there weren't many of those decent stretches. I mean, talk about being in a rut.
These guys were a tough opponent for them last year, Clark, like Steve was just saying.
Yeah, when you're so evenly matched with the team, Kevin, it doesn't make you feel that good to have dropped most of your games against them because you feel like you should at least win some of the games you play against this team.
And that one is good by Beasley.
And his skills go well beyond just his scoring ability. They really can run their entire offense through it.
Telfair kicks to Scola. And it's Phoenix scoring again.
That jump shot's like a layup for him when the defense backs off like that.
Mavericks trailed by 5. And I think Doris Burke has something for us right now. Doris?
Kevin, I was able to speak with Alvin Gentry for just a moment. Coach told me that defensively, he's not even sure how you can change Dirk Nowitzki offensively. He said he really has an unstoppable shot with that turnaround. I don't know how you stop it, but we're going to try. Guys, it always helps to have those athletic, rangy defenders who can at least get a hand in his face. We'll see what matchup they go with defensively.
Thanks again, Doris.
Well, Dirk Nowitzki's going to walk away from his career with a number of distinctions. Best European player ever, best shooting 7-footer of all time, obviously one of the game's all-time great scorers, first ballot Hall of Famer. Not bad for a skinny kid out of West Germany.
And in this first quarter, about 3 minutes played. Scola kicks to Beasley. Gortat. The shot misses. Marion up top. 6 points for him. That ties the game. Marion's got 8. You talk about all that Dirk Nowitzki has achieved. When he was taken 9th back in 1998, who could have imagined how his career would develop? In fact, he was drafted by Milwaukee and then traded for Robert Tractor Trailer. Unbelievable.
Not many, Kevin, and as much as he opened the door even wider for European players, it's been his work ethic and dedication to the game that's really put him in the class by himself, and that really separates the vast majority of the great players, Kevin. Work ethic and dedication.
Scola, a screen on Marion. Gortat dishes to Beasley. Can't get it to go. Good work defensively by Carter. Mavericks have gone 5 of 7 today so far. Nice shooting to get this game underway.
Well, the thing that served them best in that game was their fantastic three-point shooting.
And the way they were rotating, moving the ball, getting it from side to side, getting open on the perimeter, boy, it was beautiful to watch. You know, it's a little strange to not have the Suns in the playoffs for a consecutive year last year. They came close, but ended up finishing 3 games back of the 8th playoff spot.
Back to what you said about the Suns, this franchise has had such an easy time making the playoffs for the past couple decades that even 2 years with no playoffs seems like a drought for them. Steve, you know that firsthand. You were the general manager there at one time.
Yeah, it's been such a successful franchise over the last 40-plus years, Kevin, that it surprises you when they're not in the postseason. But, look, this is how the NBA works. It goes in cycles, and right now they're in a little bit of a down spell.
With it, and it's Carter picking them up. The Mavericks have gone 6 of 9, shooting it well. Beasley with the steal. He feeds it to Telfair. Back to Beasley. The shot's good. Telfair making the play. Telfair's got his 3rd assist on the night.
Brought back the finger roll. That's a nice finesse move to pull off with the defense all over.
All right, guys, let's see some numbers here on Michael Beasley. Some good work from him over the last 10 games. 15th in scoring. And he's been locked in from behind the arc, guys. He's in the top 20 in the NBA in three-point field goal percentage.
And I think this is a good time, Steve, to touch on his scoring average again. I mean, as you pointed out, it's top 15 in the league, and he does it in a variety of ways. You know, Coach Alvin Gentry has done a nice job in Phoenix maintaining that high-scoring style that they've established over the last decade. He's also made them and kept them respectable defensively. Ammonia-strong finish right there, partner. You hear me? That was ammonia-strong.
Yeah, ripped it down with 2 hands.
That's about as high percentage as you can get.
Now here's Dudley. 14 points from him the last game against Memphis.
And a huge rebounding night as well, really controlling the glass.
Well, over the course of the last 10 games, these big men have been the NBA's best at the charity stripe. 4th, Luis Scola.
Well, a lot of these big men take the confidence they have in the paint straight to the free throw line.
Yep, some of them do that, exactly, and we can see the reason why in those numbers. In general, the composure of all those players show up at the free throw line.
Now, here is Gortat, averaging 14 points a game. Scola passes to Gortat, drops in the layup for 2. Gortat's got his 2nd basket.
Creating that kind of shot in close is really your primary objective every possession.
Out of bounds, Phoenix takes possession. And Steve, before Alvin Gentry took over, the Suns toyed with the slower pace, but he got them back to running, and he's not looked back.
Yeah, Gentry did an amazing job in Phoenix when he took over as head coach, and that's why he's still there. He really gained the trust of the players right away. He got back to that style that's really most conducive to that talent. And, you know, now it's going to be interesting. Without Nash, you know, can you still run with Goran Dragic running the point? I think so. But this will be Gentry's biggest challenge now, not being able to rely on one of the great point guards of all time.
Beasley kicks to Dudley. Over Carter. Dudley, no luck.
Well, that was not a smart play there. That's a wild shot. They can get something better.
No, that's not smart basketball. He should have passed that shot up.
Here's Telfair. Can't get it to go. And they're scoring pretty well as we conclude the first quarter. Suns lead by 4. And now the second quarter just getting set to start. And taking a look at the Suns' performance here, Clark and Steve, what have they been doing or not doing?
Yeah, this team is on the same page, no question. They're right where they need to be offensively.
And they're hitting their scores with on-time and on-target passes, too. That's fun to watch.
So with Nowitzki sitting on the bench, here's who Rick Carlisle's going with. Carter and Marion fill out the wings. Chris came in out there with Elton Brand, and it's Mayo in at the point. Let's go to our sideline reporter, Doris Burke. Doris, what do you have?
Fellas, the Phoenix Suns aren't one of the top-tier defensive teams in the league, but last season they did have their best defensive efficiency of the last 4 seasons. One of the possible keys, they simplified things. Jared Dudley said, we're running just one pick-and-roll coverage and covering the post one certain way. Before, when you had 3 or 4 ways of covering, you'd get mixed up. Kevin?
Well, Doris, sometimes it makes sense to keep it simple. Thanks.
And that's his first 3-pointer, so maybe that one will get him started. Well, it hasn't been an easy fall from grace for the Suns. They were once the cream of the crop in the West. In fact, for about a 5 or 6 year stretch, they were near the top or at the top of that conference. But they've transitioned the last couple of years into a team that's kind of right on the bubble of making the playoffs year after year, and that's a tough position to be in.
Carter drives in with some art, and they call over the back here. Too much contact.
Yeah, that was kind of clumsy looking. He was not going to get away with that.
He climbed all over him like he was on the ladder. I mean, that's an easy over-the-back call there.
Luis Scola, he's checked in for Phoenix. Dudley comes in for Wesley Johnson. And Dallas also making a switch. Nowitzki's checked in. Pulls up. High post. Telfair can't hit. And you hear the term bubble teams, and it really isn't where you want to be. They aren't getting high draft picks, but keep getting beat out for a playoff spot.
Yeah, that's kind of the no man's land zone, if you will. Suns have been trapped in that area for the last few years now. You have to think they'll start considering how they need to rebuild here soon.
You know, Marcin Gortat has emerged into one of the best centers in the league. Back when he was in Orlando, he was in a backup role behind Dwight Howard. But now that he's in Phoenix, he's getting starters minutes, and he's made the most of it. Very, very productive player.
And he's good on the second. Well, Clark, speaking of Gortat, he led the Suns last season in scoring. When you look at him as a scorer, what's his strength?
Well, he can do a lot of stuff, Kevin. He's got good hands. He finishes around the goal with both hands. He can pick and roll, pick and pop. Nice mid-range touch. I like what he brings. When you're that big and have the skills he has, you can put up some good numbers, and he did. He has such a great feel for how a missed shot is going to come off the rim. Really plays those angles well. That's exactly why he consistently beats defenders to the ball.
And the Mavericks making a change here. Beaubois is checked in.
Well, he's as smart as they come defensively. No matter who he's guarding, he knows what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and he forces them to do things that maybe don't suit their game.
That's true. And his spectacular shot blocking, something else to look for, especially recovering on the break. He can run you down and send it away in a heartbeat.
And the Suns miss again.
Boy, they were ready for him right there. I mean, totally collapsed the defense on him.
Out of bounds, Phoenix will take possession. Now a look at the hottest teams in the league. These squads have not done everything in the last 10 games. In third, the Mavericks.
Now, the thing I like is they're getting good shots every time down the floor, and it's due to their unselfishness as a team.
Vince Carter, he's checked in for Roddy Beaubois. And the call will be against O.J. Mayo. That'll be his second foul of the game. Marshall, he's checked in for Sebastian Telfair. Now about 3 minutes gone in the second quarter of basketball. Now here's Marshall, guarded by Mayo. 6 to shoot. Here's Beasley. Here's Gortat. A strong finish under heavy pressure all over. Gortat's got his third bucket of the night. The Mavericks have gone 4 of 6 from the field here in the second. Nowitzki, guarded by Scola. Here's Carter. Excellent D there from Beasley.
You see the defenders get out of his way a lot of times when he's on his way to the bucket, but not that time.
And stolen by Mayo. Back to Carter. From deep. And it's Carter again missing. The Suns have gone 3 of 7 shooting the ball here in the second quarter. Here's Beasley. Takes it up with a stop.
with that reverse jam, the fans got a little extra show there.
That one definitely had something, you're right, extra on it.
That was one of those 3 or 4 plays that you see every night in an NBA game that just leaves you in awe. Well, last year was a struggle for Dallas. They lost Tyson Chandler in the offseason. And, the lockout condensed season was tough for them with the age of Kidd and Nowitzki. And I think where it really showed was on the road. The performance in visiting arenas just wasn't what it was in previous years.
Flawless alley-oop that time. That's some real stylish basketball there.
Almost looks like a play they've been rehearsing for a while.
Well, that's the beauty of the alley-oop. It appears that way, but really it's just timing and sort of an innate sense of awareness between 2 teammates.
Here's what Phoenix has got going on right now. Markieff Morris is checked in for Scola. Johnson comes in for Jared Dudley. And it's Telfair in for Marshall. And Doris Burke has something for us. Hey, Doris.
Guys, Michael Beasley was the former number 2 overall pick in the 2008 draft. But he's yet to realize huge success at the NBA level, and off-the-court difficulties have been part of the problem. But retired Laker great Norm Nixon took an interest in mentoring him, and he's made a huge difference. He's encouraged Beasley to part ways with some of his friends who Beasley admitted had affected him in negative ways. Beasley said, quote, "I feel like I have a handle on my life. I'm definitely more comfortable now. I thank God every day for Norm coming into my life. It's been a blessing. Kevin, everybody needs somebody."
Great story. Thank you, Doris. Well, Steve, you look at the standings for the past few years, and the Mavs, one of the toughest road teams in the league. But Clark, last year, they really struggled. They didn't have that same edge away from Dallas.
13-20 was their final road record, Kevin, and that's a far cry from what they're used to. It's really a big part of why they didn't win their division and had to settle for the 7th seed in the Western Conference playoffs.
Cunningham, he's checked in for Dallas.
He didn't get off to much of a start early on, but he seems to have shaken off the rust here in the quarter.
And here's Mayo from beyond the arc. And it's good. Mayo's got 6 here in this quarter.
Fellas, they are heating up from outside now.
Yep, of their last 5 hoops, 3 of them have come from long range.
He dishes it to Telfair. Back to Beasley. That falls. Great assist by Sebastian Telfair. And that's 15 points for Beasley. Mavericks trailed by 5. Gorton with the steal. Michael Beasley again.
They have no answer for him. He's just putting on a dominant display of offense.
26 seconds left to play here in the second quarter. Mayo kicks to Cunningham. Another 3 for Dallas. There's 18 seconds left here in the second. Kicks to Gorton. Pulls it up. The Mavericks pull it in.
Well, the shot was there for him, and he had to take it. I don't care if he didn't convert. He's got to take that every time.
Fades and shoots. And no good trying to get that one. And the first half ends in a close one. The Suns on top, up 4. 2K Sports. Back in a moment here from the U.S. Airways Center.
And now, brought to you by Sprint.
Welcome to the 2K Sports Studios. Such great rivalry going on tonight. Let's check out how the first half is gone. For the Phoenix Suns, they have the lead against Dallas. A losing record for them in this early NBA season. They'll try to battle back with a win here. For Michael Beasley, a stellar game, no doubt. His shooting percentage off the charts right now. He's got the magic touch from the field, no question about it. And for the Mavericks, it's a grinded-out effort. And from outside, you couldn't shoot it much better than this. They are scorching hot from beyond the arc. Sean Marion's been outstanding.
Well, both sides have assessed what they need to do over the break in halftime. We'll see now if one can pull out a way here in the third.
It's been a nice game for Michael Beasley. He's got 17 points, and the steals are starting to pile up for him also.
They sure have, and clearly he's gotten in their heads because of it, Clark. The guys are looking over their shoulder now, always worrying about where he is.
Dudley is the 2 with Beasley playing the small forward. Scola and Gortat there inside. And it's Telfair in at the 1 spot. That's Alvin Gentry's 5 as we get into the second half. Here's Scola on the money from 12 feet away.
Offensively just hammering away in the paint.
And that's 10 straight points inside, too. You know, it's been a steady downward turn for the Suns in the past few years, Kevin. What once was a team built around speed and several stars is now a bit of a potpourri of talent. I mean, you have to think they're on the verge of trying to rebuild things there.
Beasley up top. Over Marion. Good work defensively by Marion. The Mavericks trailing. They can look forward to the Rockets arena after this matchup to take on Houston. That'll be the 3rd game of this 3-game road trip.
And, you know, for the Rockets, that's a game they'd really like to have.
Back to the Suns. You'll have to find a player or two to build around. Steve, what are your thoughts as you extend the Suns from this point on?
Well, right now for the Suns, you know, they don't have too many young prospects, but they did a nice job in the draft the last couple of years. Kendall Marshall, new point guard. Also, the big guy Morris has looked like he's got a future with the club. So I think they're heading in the right direction at this point. That's 3 for 4 field goal shooting here in the 3rd. So offensively, they're looking good.
And Gortat kicks to Dudley. In low to Scola. Out of bounds. Dallas will take possession.
Well, let's see some of the numbers here on Marcin Gortat. Over the last month, making major contributions. 9th in blocks. And with a top 20 ranking in field goal percentage, he's done a nice job of creating good looks for himself.
You know, Steve, he's doing what very few players in the league are really capable of, and that's impacting games through his low-post defensive presence. And he's one of the best shot blockers in the game in terms of his ranking, so no surprise.
I love Jared Dudley, just a pro's pro, great locker room guy, smart, hard-working. He's developed his outside shot over the years and doesn't look overly quick, but managed to stay in front of people defensively.
That is good.
Boy, such a great touch, and with his size, I mean, he can go anywhere he wants offensively.
Here is Telfair, guarded by Mayo. Telfair kicks to Beasley. Passes it to Telfair. Fires the 3. Gets it to go. Telfair's got 11 points. And Dudley, a former ACC Player of the Year, a great sense of humor. A couple of seasons back, he had a bet with his teammates that he could get 10 dunks in a season. And I don't know if he did it or not, but he tried.
Kevin, I think he barely made it. But you see, he doesn't really take himself too seriously, and that's part of what endears him to his coaches and his teammates.
Channing Fries checked in for the Suns. And Dallas also making the switch. Lottie Bobois is checked in for O.J. Mayo. Telfair dishes to Fry. Can't hit. Mavericks trailed by 3. And here we go. The Mavericks in a fast break. Marion. It's hauled in by Fry. The Suns have gone 4 of 6 from the field since the start of the 3rd. Dishes it to Beasley. The shot's good. Telfair making the play. 19 points for Beasley.
And Rick Carlisle, head coach of the Mavericks, actually coached previously in Detroit and Indiana. And, you know, he won the Coach of the Year in his very first season as a head coach, 2002 with Detroit.
Telfair, the pass to Beasley. Over Nowitzki. And Nowitzki with the block. Here's Marion. And he's knocked off course by the D. The foul called. He'll shoot free throws. And going back to Rick Carlisle's time in Detroit, he'd gotten them as far as the conference finals in his second season, but was shown the door just prior to their championship year in 2004.
Yeah, the Pistons won the title the next year, so a move that obviously was justified, but a strange move nonetheless. Rick Carlisle had plenty of success, but that's the NBA. Coaches get blamed for everything, and to Carlisle's credit, he just moved on, kept working, and has had tremendous success ever since.
And Bobois kicks to Mayo. Oh, a nice defensive play to disrupt the alley-oop. Number 10 puts the lead pass in front of him. Rebounded by Kaman. Kaman's got 4 rebounds in this game. Oh, look for Marion. Not wasting any time and taking the shot and knocking it down. 1:49 left in the 3rd quarter of the game.
And you have to give the ownership a lot of credit for the Mavs' success over the years, guys. A lot of people may not agree with things he has to say, but you can't argue with the success that he's had. He's spent his money, his resources. He's put a ton of passion and energy into building that franchise, and it's developed into one of the best in the entire league.
And it's White missing.
That's not his shot there, guys. And whether you play D on him or not, he's usually going to miss that one.
Number 10.
You know, his finishing ability leaves a lot to be desired, guys. He needs to take it to the basket stronger.
That's good. And that's now 6 points for Chris Kaman. You talk about passionate ownership on the sideline, actively involved in crafting the roster and the fan experience. You don't get much better than Dallas. From the top all the way down, it's all about winning and not afraid to push for what's best for the NBA.
And I think he wants the best for his players, too. And that's why, as a player, you've got to love, admire, and respect that. You know that he wants to win just as much as you do. And it's easy to go the extra mile and commit to a team where that's the case coming from ownership.
Gets it to go. And now it's a 3-point Maverick lead.
Excellent execution of the plan there.
Number 10, he's covered by Bobois. We've got 28 seconds left in the third. There's the feed to Gortat. Little turnaround. They get it back. Number 10, guarded by Mayo. Second chance shot. Gets it to go. Right with it. And stolen by Scola. And at the close of the third quarter, still a close game, and both teams putting up points. And here are the Suns now. On the floor for Dallas, starting the fourth quarter here. Dirk and Brand playing up front. Mayo out there with Carter, and it's Crowder in at the three. And that one is good by Beasley.
Another inside bucket. They've got a huge edge in points in the lane.
That's what every coach preaches, inside out, reversible clothing.
And it's Brand that time on the assist by Mayo. Mayo's got 9 assists now tonight. And guys, here in the fourth quarter, still a close game.
Yeah, and actually still too close to call. I mean, this one is tight.
This could be an instant classic, fellas. I mean, this thing has all the looks of a game that's going to go right down to the last shot. Well, it's been an interesting transition for the Suns. You know, several years ago, they were one of the elite teams in the league. Now they're more in the middle of the pack. So this is not the same team that the Suns once were, but they're still very competitive on a nightly basis.
Catching up on the changes for Phoenix. Jared Dudley's checked in for Johnson, and it's Telfair in for Marshall. Balanced scoring, Clark and Steve for him. They're moving it well.
Yeah, you love to see teams share the sugar. Everybody getting a touch, everybody enjoying an opportunity to score. That makes it a lot of fun for everybody on the court.
You know, it sounds better when you say it than watching it. Okay? I like better when you say it. Sharing the sugar.
Well,
right, Steve?
Yeah, pass the cream, too. I mean, while you're at it. I mean, this has been something to watch. I mean, just everybody getting involved.
Yeah, Steve, the Suns still a good team and all, but not quite the force they once were when they would just go out and run teams right out of the building, Clark.
Yeah, I remember those days. You don't ever want to scoff at 19 and 14 at home, but the Suns know that they'll need to be much better than that in Phoenix if they want to get back to the playoffs.
It's been a struggle for him offensively tonight, and they'd love to have his production out there.
Here's what Phoenix has lined up on their schedule. They're off to battle the Clippers after this game, as they'll be playing at the Staples Center. That'll be just one game played away from home for them.
Yeah, you know the fans out in Memphis really hoping their team can win that one.
Mayo dishing to Nowitzki. Good on the leaner. And it's a 3-point Maverick lead.
It's been a little too easy for them inside, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think so, Steve. I mean, they've really dictated the action in the paint. That's been their focus, and the defense hasn't mounted much resistance at all.
And let's get this update now from Doris Burke, who's across the way on the sideline.
Kevin, I was able to listen in on what Rick Carlisle was going over with his team in that last huddle. He He said, no time to waste, fellas. We've got to pick it up right now if we're going to make a comeback and try to win this thing. Let's go all out. Back to you.
Thanks, Doris. That's good. And the Mavericks lead by 2.
Yeah, we're now starting to see them get some high percentage shots in the paint.
Yeah, that's 5 of their last 6 buckets inside the lane, so they're getting really high percentage looks down there.
He kicks to Dudley. Feeds it to Telfair. Gord's out with a screen on Mayo. Telfair takes it out to Beasley. Shot clock at 2. Offensive rebound.
Boy, just by his body language, Kevin, you can tell he thought that triple was going to fall.
Yeah, a little frustrated now, shaking his head after that miss.
And here's the fast break. Telfair leading the way. Here's Gortat. The shot's good. Telfair making the play. Telfair's got 10 assists here tonight. So active.
Well, the thing that I like about Gortat is how deceptive he is in the ways that he scores. I mean, he can score in transition. He can catch in the paint with either hand and finish. He can knock down a jump shot. You know, he doesn't look like a star, but he's developing into one.
Yeah, you know what, Steve, he really is? He might not be the biggest guy, but Gortat thrives on cleansing. He can pack a punch, too. I've watched him many times. Just leaning into you and bumping into you and working your way down the floor. He can definitely wear a player down with all of it.
This guy's really flowing with his stroke right now. He hit one earlier, and now he has 3 in this half.
Nobody near him. He'll normally make that one.
Here's Carter. That's good from Carter. The Suns making a switch here. Scola's checked in. That one falls, so he hits both of them. We've played just over 3.5 minutes now in the 4th quarter. And Dudley kicks to Scola. Gets the bucket.
And this continues to be a shootout.
Well, I'm a fan as well as a commentator, and I love this fast-paced action. I mean, it's going back and forth, back and forth.
That drive by Carter. Pass to Kaman. Nowitzki outside. There's the triple, and that one's good. Nowitzki's got 10 points in just the second half.
Well, it's been a tale of 2 halves, hasn't it, guys? After a terrible first half, he's really picking it up.
There's 1:54 left in the 4th quarter. Telfair can't hit.
The defense got away with one there. I mean, usually he'll hurt you if you give him that kind of...
Oh, ridiculous.
Tore it down that time. That's taking it strong right there.
Yeah, finishing in style.
You can feel a sense of anticipation when he heads for the hoop because that's what he can do.
And that replay sponsored by Sprite, giving us a great look at that one. Dudley with it, and it's Carter picking him up. Dudley the pass to Telfair. Gortat with a screen on Mayo. Scola guarded by Mayo. 6 on the shot clock.
That's his second personal foul, second team foul.
.125 left in the 4th quarter. Here's Telfair. Chris Kaman pulls it in. Mavericks leading by 8. Carter drives in. Got a piece of it. Now Telfair. Beasley outside. Right side Scola. Over Nowitzki. And Scola with the basket on the assist by Beasley.
Tell you what, fellas, he loves those mid-range jumpers. I mean, that's where he makes his money.
Carter, he's guarded by Dudley. For the 3. No good. So Phoenix will take it the other way. Steve, what a big possession right here.
No doubt, guys. You can feel the tension in this building.
And that's an intentional foul. The Mavericks have gotten exactly 2/3 of their shots to find the bottom of the net here in the fourth, 8-12.
You know, you make a pass trying to cover that much distance, you give the defender an opportunity to home in on that ball.
And that had to feel good.
Yeah, he exhaled as that one went down.
Clark, they'll be trying to take as much time off the clock as they can.
Exactly. Expect to see some long possessions out of them going forward.
Here is Telfair. The dish now to Gortat. There's the pass to Telfair. 5 on the clock. He feeds it to Dudley to tie it up. It's off to force OT. So it's a narrow victory for the Mavericks, pulling out the W. It was tight, but they managed to come up with the win.
You know, nobody wants to lose a close game, Kevin. It's much better to win those tight ones.
Thank you for joining us for this presentation of the NBA on 2K Sports. For Clark, Stephen Doris, and the rest of the crew, this is Kevin Harlan saying thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.